Greetings, YouTube. I have been spending much of this Sunday, though by the time I post this, I would imagine it is early Monday. So, hello to all you insomniacs across the pond that couldn't sleep. Welcome to my world when it's late at night in America. We have seen the return of a featured Cavalier crystal, and for my book, it's the first time we've seen this. I could be wrong. Lord knows that wouldn't be the first time. But it's fascinating to have a discussion on the drop rates of the return of the featured Cav, which I believe is the last chance to really get this champion before he goes into the basic pool. So it takes a while, right? A very long while. We're talking months. But let's check this out. So we have the Nova Flame Crystal, which has the featured Cavalier of Human Torch. This is not a new crystal, of course. We have seen this before. And so Kabam is doing something with the drop rates that's really kind of cool and noteworthy if you want to try to get your hands on this champion and target them before the drop rates are even lower when you consider how many champions overall I should say, are in the basic pool. Now, I want to say off the top, this does still not guarantee, or really the odds are still not great. So it's not like this is the old featured champ pool where you had a 20% RNG. Far from it. But when you consider what the odds are when the champion first comes out, it is fairly significant. And if you don't believe me, let's dive right in to these numbers. So we know that the featured 6-star drop rate for a new featured 6-star, like Stealth Suit Spidey that was just dropped, is 0.01, right? Well, when he comes back, it's 0.3. Or I guess, is it 0.1? It's 0.1, not 0.01. So it's 3 times as able to pull the 6-star, and the 5-star is 1.2%. Again, that doesn't sound amazing, but given how I know quite a few people like to load up about 100 of these, and yes, that is a lot of money, considering one of these is about $10 a piece worth of units, so 100 is $1,000. But for the whales out there that do this regularly, this gives them, if they were waiting patiently or just flat out missed on the featured champion or sub-featured champion of that 6-star when they actually came out the first time, this gives them a much better chance to pull that champion before the release. So I think it's a fairly fascinating discussion on math, which my identical twin, Mr. Prof Box, because he sounds like the progressive talking box of the American insurance channels, I think it's just better, right? And so maybe you don't care about Human Torch. Maybe this doesn't mean anything to you now, but certainly when, say, Cole's featured crystals come back, or maybe Namor's, this is going to mean something else. I also think what's fascinating is that even though we won't see the sub-featured drop rates of this, it is believed, and I think the data supports it, that it is easier to get the sub-featured champion out of these than it is to get the featured champion. So the argument behind the scenes is that maybe the drop rates for the sub-featured champion go to something like 0.6, and that maybe the drop rates of the 5-star sub-featured champion go to 2.4%. And again, I know that doesn't sound amazing, but when you consider what they are when this crystal first appears, it is significantly better. And particularly for those who have enough resources to buy 100 of these, for example. So I think this is noteworthy, obviously, since I'm taking the time to make a video, but I also think that this is exciting, assuming they keep these drop rates for some of the better champions in 2019. And I do love me some Human Torch. I think he's one of the more fun champions to play with, especially in, say, the arena in 2019. But I'm not going to sit here and say that he's of the same hype as Cole or Neymar, etc. So what do you think about these buffed drop rates, so to speak, before the champion is out of these featured crystals? Do you like them? Personally, I think it's certainly helpful, especially if you can count on them being like this from now on. This gives you the opportunity, if you really, really want that champion, to just hoard and hoard and hoard your units until Kabam Mike can't sleep at night, and then hopefully pull that champion. So Thanks for everybody who sent this along, because there are, I don't know, at least 5 or 6 people that have reached out to me just because this was an issue that really caught their eye. And to me, if there's a pattern of messages that I'm getting in the Line app, then it is newsworthy. Even if it only helps about 5 or 10 people in the community, that's still 5 or 10 people that would not have been helped had the video not been made. And that is my definition of justifying your time. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a good one, and thanks to everybody who sent this my way. It's a fun discussion, and one that I plan on having for months and even years to come, assuming these drop rates are static and stay the same for the last of the newer featured champions that'll come into the contest with these crystals in the months to come.